For safety, please first unplug your garage door opener. I got home today, and as I was opening the garage door, there was a loud popping, and this spring ended up breaking right here. You can see it busted, and you can see there's a cable that's in the middle of it. That's the safety cable. We want to make sure that's connected because if you look and follow this up to the top right here, you can see that it shot back and right into the sheetrock. So there was a lot of force. So you make sure you have that safety cable put on. And it's wedged in there pretty good. So I'm gonna unscrew it on the back here. And you can see here, this is color coded. So this is dark blue. So now I've unbolted it, and as you can see here, the hook, when the spring broke, the spring had so much pressure it shot up and over my hook. So I'm gonna get a pliers, I'm gonna spin this out of here. And then before I pull on this, I'm gonna put the nut back on, and I'm actually gonna pull on the nut. We do not wanna pull on the threads, otherwise we won't be able to use this and we won't be able to re-thread the nut. So put the nut back on. If you put the pliers on it, pull on the outer part of the nut, not on the threads. When the spring popped up, it was up there pretty good, so I wasn't able to pull it out. So I had to take out my saw, and I had to hack off a piece of that spring, and then I was able to get this out. Next thing we're gonna do is pop this off. And then after I pull that hook off, that spring's gonna drop right out. So next you can see a piece of this spring here is still attached to the pulley where it broke. So I'm gonna remove this nut so I can get that removed, and then I can realign my new spring onto there. Here's the spring, and you can see it's got a few bad spots in it. Inside it we have a new cable, which is kind of nice, because my other cable started getting frayed. This was the dark blue at Home Depot. It's kind of a light blue, but they also have a light blue, which is even lighter. So I bought a few different ones so I could bring them home just to make sure, and I'll return the other ones. So they're color coded on the ends. White, yellow, there's a baby blue, and this is the dark blue. You can see it right there. I'm just installing the same size spring that was on there before. I wasn't sure. The dark blues are different, so I pulled them out, and then I checked to make sure the diameters were the same and that we're looking at the same gauge metal as well for the coil. Next, there's this wrench to remove that, and remove that wire. So the wire feeds right through the back of the pulley. So I'm just going to pull that all the way through. Put my vice grips on one side, and then I'm going to use my socket to loosen up the other side. And then to remove the pulley on mine, there was this little black, and it's plastic. This was popped through. So you can see it's a little bit wider, so there's little tabs here. I just squeezed those and pushed that back up and through so I could remove my bolt. My next step now is to thread this cable through the coil spring. So next I've tightened this bolt back down, and I have my coil sitting here, so I'll have to open up the garage door next. I put up a board there and a board here, and now that this spring has actually tightened up, so this board's not really holding anything, so wiggle it under here just in case it drops. So the last thing I have to do is pull this cord tight, make sure all my pulleys are aligned properly, and then as you can see on mine, there's a little slot here. You can see there's a little slot here, so I'll run a set screw through there. I'll pull this so it's fairly taut, and then the last thing you really want to do is, you can see where my safety cord goes. I want to make sure that stays across the outside so it's not getting caught up in the other wires. And then I'm going to set my set screw, and then I'll test it out. After you're all completed, the last step here is plug your garage door opener back in, and then you're going to want to make sure that your garage door is back into the lock position. And the last step is to test your garage door. So this side here is pulling nice, and as you can see, the spring is nice. It stayed up inside the pulleys, and now the other side, the spring's loose. So I'll change this one next. Since this spring is not broken, all I have to do is open the garage door. It's going to release the tension, and then I can just come up here and remove my spring, and then I can lower my garage door. So again, it's going to be very similar on this side. I have the safety cable here that I have to loosen up. So once I've removed that end of the safety cable, then I can just pull it through. So after removing the pulley, I'm going to set the spring inside the pulley as well as the cable, and we'll get those up inside there, and then we'll tighten that down. So now that I have the spring and pulley hanging, then I'm going to next thread my safety cable. And remember to thread it through the pulley as well. Next I'm going to hang my safety cable. My next step is to open the garage door. And you can see I just have a ton of loose cable here, so I'm gonna have to make sure that that gets set. But now that the garage door is open, I can take this spring and I can pull that up and attach it. Putting the spring in place, I'm gonna check to make sure that my pulleys are set. Make sure that all my cables are connected properly. And this one is not. And then the last thing we have to do is tighten up our safety cable. And so this just broke today. And I ran up to the hardware store, up to Home Depot, and bought this set, and I believe it was $24. Next, I'm going to remove those boards that I put in. Set the garage door to the lock position. Perfect. Please check out one of my other videos. We also have a video of how to program your Craftsman garage door opener. So this garage door spring broke. I ran up to Home Depot, got the spring that I needed, came back home. Took me about 2 hours with recording to get this done. I got both sides done. If you're unsure what to do, you can always look over at the side that's not broken. If you're totally unsure, just close up the garage door, call a technician. But it is something that's fairly simple. I think most people should be able to get this without any issues. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.